Hey, I'm Meryl, and Dead Poets Society is a 1989 film directed by Peter Weir and written by Tom Schulman, following the story of a group of young men in a private school and the new English teacher, Mr. Keating. The film itself covers many themes. Most interesting to me is that of self-discovery and the disillusion of authority. Mr. Keating serves as the lighter for the spark of the main cast, the driving force that pushes them to be themselves, to disregard not just school authority, but personal authority. He is the reason as to why Neil delves into acting, and the reason the namesake of the film, the Dead Poets Society, forms. Keating is not a traditional teacher, going against what the curriculum establishes, ripping pages from textbooks and acting out Shakespeare as various actors in the middle of class. Keating's unique attitude is in direct contrast with the tight structure and order of the private school. Keating quite literally introduces his own perspective to his students by standing on his desk and encouraging the students to do the same, to view the world from a new lens and make their own sense of it. Be themselves, and in his own words,
"Don't be resigned to that. Break out."
Breaking out is exactly what the Dead Poets Society do. Not resigning themselves to their regular lives, the boys let themselves be themselves without care for what anyone else thinks. Neil is at the forefront of their rebellion, the first to come out of his shell and loudly proclaim his wishes to be an actor,
I'm gonna act.
going against his parents' wishes. Neil helps his fellow dead poets recognize themselves, what they want to do and who they want to be. In the scene where Todd Anderson sits down over one of the school's bridges, besides a desk that he was sent for his birthday, identical to the one he'd received the year before, Neil humours the gift. He convinces Todd to see it as more than a desk set, to instead see it as a symbolic opportunity to break free, to choose his own life, throwing the desk set and his metaphorical tethers to his parents' ideals away. This scene releases Todd to follow his own journey of self-discovery. Previously a character who only wants to follow his parents' wishes, realizes they barely know him and his wishes. He finds himself with the help of Neil, growing into an individual, not a follower. Peter Weir consistently uses diegetic audio as a way to not only establish the setting, also using it to add to the emotion of a scene, something normally reserved for non-diegetic audio. Keating whistles Tchaikovsky's Overture, a song for the end of the Russian Revolution, a song of victory, as a way to inspire his students.
Brain damage!
The fourth movement of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, Ode to Joy, is heard throughout a montage of students playing soccer with Keating. This movement especially is considered a song of celebration and release, an ode to hope and freedom, a representation of the students breaking free and being themselves as they play alongside Keating. One sequence that I believe best exemplifies all the notable themes throughout the film is Neil's death. The viewer sees the scene's lighting as a cold and unreal blue, whilst a soft and eerie hum echoes throughout. Comparatively to the rest of the film's warm lighting, this comes across as unnatural, something that shouldn't be happening, something that could have been avoided. The sequence begins as Neil undresses and places the crown from his performance of Puck onto windowsill, a representation of him putting his passions for acting down. The rest plays out as Neil walks through the house shirtless, backlit to the point of being only a silhouette, an aesthetic generally reserved for horror movies moments before a jump scare. There is no jump scare though, there is no noise but the hum. When Neil sits down at his father's desk, a close-up shot shows Neil pulling out a blanketed revolver from the drawer, shooting himself off screen. Throughout the sequence, Neil's head is never shown, with medium shots cut off at the neck, dehumanizing him, separating Neil's growth as a character throughout the film and his present actions. His father's inability to understand his son's ideals, to be an individual with his own passions and interests to pursue, all the time he's spent forcing down the life he wants for Neil down his throat, has made him incapable of knowing what Neil wants for himself. Neil goes behind his father's back just to understand what he wants to do with his own life. He finds something he enjoys and is then shut down. The future he decided for himself, after being railroaded for so long, is broken down before him, in moments. Neil, being the first one to break free of structure and to live how he wants, to help the rest of the dead poets break free from themselves, is handed the harshest of consequences. He sees no form of escape, no way to be who he wants with his father ruling himself, trapping him in a future he can't control. Dead Poets Society is a film about change, about young boys growing into their own person and being unique. Its show of freedom and self-discovery is evident throughout the course of the film. Peter Weir demonstrates this through characters, sound design, and realistically all aspects of cinematography. Altogether it enhances not only the many messages of the film, but the story as a whole. And with that, class dismissed.